Thank you so much for tuning into Movie Wars. This week we covered Chef from 2014, written and directed by Jon Favreau, starring Jon Favreau, Robert Downey Jr., John Leguizamo, and Scarlett Johansson. We brought in our friend Matt West, and not only is he a stand-up comedian, he's actually a beloved executive chef here in Nashville. We'll dive into a little introduction and history of the film. Then we'll do something called The Questions, which are funny or serious questions designed to generate great discussion. We'll do randos, which are the most interesting facts I discovered during my research of the film, and then we'll round it out with the war card. 5 categories that we debate to figure out if we approve or disapprove of Chef. Don't be afraid to hit that like button and share with your friends.
Movie Wars.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Movie Wars podcast. Woo-hoo. I'm your host, Kyle.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Matt West.
Matt West, ladies and gentlemen.
Not to be confused with Christian musician Matthew West.
I'm the Matthew West.
He's the Matthew West.
Which Matt just informed me is the highest grossing Christian artist of all time.
Yeah, I had no clue. I would have guessed like Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Chris Tomlin.
Anyone from DC Talk.
Yeah, but anyway. So this is amazing. Not only is he a hilarious comedian, but he is a chef.
An actual chef.
And we are doing the movie Chef from 2014, Jon Favreau. Mm-hmm. And this is just an incredible line. But not only is he going to crack us up, but you're going to give us insights into the industry.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How'd you get into cooking?
So, can we get into the movie now, or would you?
Oh, we can. If you don't want to talk about that, we can.
It ties in.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
So,
100%.
like, my parents owned a diner growing up. So that's kind of where I got my start. And when we talk about the movie later, it was cool because there was both dynamics there. Mm-hmm. You know, he had the kid with him in the food truck, and then because I'd been on that side, and then I'd also been at the upper echelon fine dining chef where he was in the beginning. So the movie was really cool because I felt like I could relate to both ends of it.
Nice.
So, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, my parents had a diner growing up. So when I was about 12, I was tall enough to see over the burners. I got put to work because child labor laws don't apply to family.
It's true.
Oh, it's true.
It's very true.
So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got my start. I've left it and came back several times. When I was moving down here, probably about 8 years ago, I wanted to get back into it, but in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, they're paying $12 an hour, down
even
here.
For fine shit.
Yeah.
Right. And down here, I could come make a living off of it, and a decent living. So,
And for those that aren't in Nashville or the Middle Tennessee area, something that's happened, I moved here in 2009, and one of the craziest things that I've seen is we talk in general about the growth of the restaurant industry here, but there's really been something that I think is a plus and a minus, which is that there's been a massive almost fluctuation towards high-end dining.
Yeah, definitely, especially downtown.
Some of my pubs got closed down that I used to go to. Some of my favorite, which I liked fine dining, but we've had a major fluctuation of higher-end restaurants here. And it's very competitive. And COVID was, like a lot of metropolitan areas, was kind of a truth telling for a lot of those restaurants here.
Seriously, though, because it wasn't even just about how good your food was, but how well you were able to adapt to people not physically being able to be in your restaurant. So you kind of had to be incredibly good with the food, and then also make sure that your customer base was ready to order.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I have opinions about the fine dining stuff. Sometimes I feel like it's a little overrated,
Agreed.
Like as far as like the Michelin star rating system goes, I hate it.
Yeah.
So much.
Why is a tire company telling us where to eat?
Well, it's not even just that. It's like generally when a restaurant gets one of those stupid ass stars, their food goes from, $2.50 a plate to $6 because they have a star from a tire company, like you said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't know. I'm I grew up very, very poor, and I don't like when restaurants make it to where a section of the population can't come eat at your restaurant.
Yeah.
I think food should be available to everybody, and because it can only get so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it can only get so good before it's just absurd.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And so much of the Michelin clips that I see, we'll get to the movie, but this is just so interesting, is it's a lot of shenanigans. Like they'll bring out a chicken wrapped in some like weird bag thing, but it's like a balloon, and then
then they cut it open and it looks like a boiled chicken with no seasoning. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's actually not a chicken. That was a pigeon.
Really?
Oh, wow.
What the hell?
Yeah.
The most plentiful bird in this country.
And it's
And it was probably $800.
originally that would have been done in a sheep's bladder, back in the day.
Yeah.
And now they have like special bags just for that method of cooking. But I have never seen anything that's been cooked in those like bag things that looks appetizing or seasoned.
Yeah.
I mean, like that particular video you're talking about, it was just like a grayish piece of poultry.
Yeah.
That actually turned out to be a pigeon. That's like a big thing in the Michelin scene right now is the use of pigeon, which is I don't know. That seems like a bad bird to eat to me.
For real.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant, you know.
I think honestly, like, and this is speaking both here in Nashville, but also like in other countries that I've been to, I've really discovered that the best food that I keep having is sometimes the most simplistic stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like there's simple ingredients, it's all put together well, but you're not overcomplicating it with cooking methods. You're not trying to be cool.
There's a guy in Vietnam who has a taco truck that received he's got 2 Michelin stars and you can get tacos from him for $2.
Yeah.
And they told him if he didn't raise his prices, they were going to take his stars away. And he was like, "Please, come get these plaques."
Yeah.
I
Take
don't
them
care.
off my food truck.
The level of pretension in that.
It's absurd.
Absolutely.
Well, and what a lot of people don't know is they won't come here to Nashville and a lot of the cities in the South. It's kind of a pay to play thing, right? So I was in talks with a restaurant in Aspen. It was called Bosque.
Okay.
This has been a few years ago. And they are a 25-seat restaurant, but it is super high-end, like exclusive. And I was in talks to work there. It ended up not working out because I didn't live in Aspen at the time, even though I was like willing to move there. He wanted somebody that was already based there. No big deal. But he was telling me that he and a couple of other restaurant owners had paid the Michelin company to come there so they could receive that star. And from what I understand, it's just like a pay to play thing. If they're not coming to your city, you can throw them some donations and then they'll be on their way.
Wow.
So it's like, again, that seems just, it seems like just a big circle jerk of people patting themselves on the back for nothing.
Pretty much.
Do the tire companies know no bounds?
Come on, Bridgestone, you got to make your own stars.
Speaking of Michelin stars and tires, we've got a great movie here today.
Yeah.
One that when it came out, I really just didn't expect anything. Not because I didn't think it'd be bad. It kind of just came out of nowhere in 2014. And I was like, I honestly just kind of threw it on and I was just loving it because at the time I just didn't have as restrictive of a diet, so I could still eat anything. And I enjoyed the food. I also, one thing I criticize a lot of movies of is I think a lot of new movies, especially straight to streaming movies, struggle with how they show technology and how technology like cell phones, social media.
Yeah.
It's so just kind of built in now.
Yeah.
And I hate how they handle it, and it becomes a crux where like even in the Batman, the one by what's his face? Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yeah.
That like when like it was the voicemail on the cell phone, like, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Like this movie is already 20 minutes too long and we couldn't cut the voice message scene.
Exactly.
I just think they get fumbled a lot. But here, at first I was like, oh damn it, they're doing the thing.
Yeah.
But then it became a really, really great commentary.
Yeah, 100%.
And you would have more knowledge of this than us, but all the research that I've done is that 2014 was the peak for the internet food critic.
Oh yeah.
Because until social media kind of became more embedded, it was one of kind of the things that people went online for was to read food critic actual things. And this is based on an actual food critic that went after, who loved to go after chefs, even really good chefs, because they loved the clicks. They loved being the one that brought down a big chef with their critique. And so it went downhill from here because then the whole Twitter thing is actually kind of about how that became the critic became less powerful because people were just going to go find, like on Reddit.
Exactly.
They were going to go find the info they wanted. So this actually, in a lot of ways, is a time capsule of the food industry at the time.
Well, I think it's also crazy because you look at 2014, and I think that was also just the peak of Twitter in general.
Yeah.
Like now Twitter has just devolved into people yelling at each other over politics.
And bots.
Yeah, and it's
porn.
like it used to actually, and porn. That's pretty much all it is.
That's all it is.
And that it used to be a place where, things could legitimately go viral where you couldn't get them out otherwise. And now it's not the same. There's so much of everything on every one of these platforms. It takes basically just a miracle to shine through at this point.
Right.
Well, and as somebody that has battled a couple food critics in my day, I appreciate what I do appreciate about this is it shows that you can be like, no, fuck you. Your review is bullshit. You can respond directly to the critic and people can be part of the conversation, because back in the day, somebody would write a food critic article, post it in the newspaper, and then you couldn't respond.
You had to just live with it.
Right. And I think that was the good thing about the movie is he like stood up to the critic online. And then like the other aspect of it, the restaurant owner stopping him from doing the menu that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
I felt that so deeply in my soul, like
I was thinking about that when I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, I'll bet Matt's gonna have some choice words for that." Oh my goodness!
Like, it's insane. It's insane how out of touch they are sometimes, but they think they're not.
Yeah.
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 And it was like he's like, "I've been running this same menu for 5 years. Let's change it up," which is insane.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. But yeah, I mean, if they can, they will make it as hard on you as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And when I listened to a podcast about this movie, and I try to remember the name of the professional chef, but he's like a TV chef now. He's like a really high profile guy, but he was really fun to listen to because he was really low key. And he was talking about this movie because it also was kind of before the celebrity chef really took hold in society. Like they were there, like we had Emerald a couple, but it was before like it became the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was talking about how, like it's the dynamic with the owner. He said that was actually the most realistic part of the movie. And he says that's the thing that a lot of critics don't understand is that yes, you may be a very gifted chef, but you still don't own this place.
You're beholden. Yeah.
And he said that Dustin Hoffman dynamic, he said that was the realest thing in this movie.
Well, it was crazy for me. This entire movie felt like a reflection of my life.
Really?
Oh my God, dude, on so many levels. I've been so excited to dissect this movie because it's like literally my culinary career is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many levels to it, like a lot of chefs have a very complicated romantic life that was represented well. You know what I mean? They really highlighted, I mean, even down to how he ate food. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but it's something I picked up on because I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So like as the chef, like when I do get to eat, when I'm at work, I have to, it's like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I got to get back to work. And what that's done to me over the years is caused me to eat very fast. Even like when I'm going out to eat, like on a date or something, I'm just like, it's almost like I get anxiety around eating. And it was like, there was a scene in the movie where he gets like a sandwich and I see him just like shoving it
walking
in his
around.
face. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
They really did some research for this.
I mean, it's very clear that this was a massive passion project for Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Like, you genuinely felt like everything that was happening was either because he was very close to someone who experienced it, or like you said, he was actually doing his research and watching chefs and seeing how they were acting when they were working and when they were not working. Like, the due diligence was put in. Like, he did a really good job at making sure he was respectfully portraying these types of people.
Yeah, and I mean, like the whole like fine dining to food truck transfer. I mean, that I think 90% of the chefs I know are trying to do something similar to that. Because people have this misconception about chefs. Like one thing I get told about, like that gets said to me a lot, is people would be like, "Oh, you're a chef. I bet you eat all this amazing food." It's like, I really have an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get off work and I want peanut butter and pussy. That's all I want. I don't know if I could say that. I'm sorry.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the reality of it. It's like I don't eat enough as it is because it's like working with food all day. That's like you just don't want it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And I have to make myself eat because I'm like I realize I gotta like that's not maybe healthy, but
Sure.
I would consider it almost on the lines of like some sort of eating disorder, and I think a lot of chefs suffer from that.
Right.
And then people get weird about cooking food for me. You know, they're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Try this.
I would be self-conscious for sure.
I mean, like, I'm just glad I didn't have to make it.
Yeah.
You want to know what my favorite meal in the whole world is? Something I didn't make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Preferably at least with some salt, but
as long as it's not too salty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, people are, like, always afraid that I'm going to just tear apart what they do. You know what I mean? There's this misconception about chefs that we're all angry, and Gordon Ramsay's done a good job of making sure everybody thinks we're just miserable bastards.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know.
unless he's dealing with kids, then he's like shockingly nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. But like his mentor, Marco Pierre White, is like is such a piece of shit.
Oh,
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like
Because he's French, right?
I don't know what he is. He sucks.
Yeah.
With a name like Pierre, I would assume he's somewhat French.
I don't know. I think he's English, but like you would just have to like. I think one time he quoted saying women are too emotional to work in the kitchen. And it's like they were like, "Hey, dude, that kind of sucks," and he just doubled down on it. But I don't know. Him and Gordon Ramsay, they represent like the toxic element of what chefs used to be.
Yeah.
That's changed drastically now because a lot of and kind of how Gordon Ramsay portrays himself, or they're cussing at you and screaming at you. But a lot of people don't realize his kitchens are a place where a lot of people go to start over. And I was telling Seth this earlier, but I mean, it doesn't matter what level of culinary you're in. You could be in the upper echelon Michelin star places, and then your Cracker Barrels. There's going to be criminals and gangsters all through all of it. And it doesn't matter what level it is, because a lot of people go to the restaurant industry to start over and make a decent living while learning a good trade. And they also don't drug test.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It's helpful.
so yeah, you know, I've personally seen it myself. People trying to do that Gordon Ramsay shit where they're talking shit and being mean, and then they get knocked the fuck out
Yeah.
in the middle of service. So
Maybe you're too emotional to be in the kitchen. Maybe it's hot and you need to get the F out of there and share movie wars. Quit trying to cook. You're going to cut your fingers off.
Let us cook.
Yeah, and I've watched Chopped. When they cook their finger, they're out. When they cut their finger and they got to put the glove on, if they get blood on anything, they're out of the competition.
Yeah.
It's too much. You just need to sit down, eat something someone else made, and listen to movie wars and share it with your grandmother, who's probably also hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
feed your grandmother.
Feed her and put on that in our theme song. Do. It gets the grandmothers going every time.
Yeah.
Love y'all. Share movie wars.
Makes them hungry.
The questions.
The questions.
Which is a more accurate depiction of the food industry, the bear or chef?
I think they both kind of hit two different sides of the same coin, but like we were kind of talking about before you even got here, like they don't fully show the whole story.
Yeah.
Either side of them. Even the things that they do kind of cover, there's some big stuff, and you'll be able to talk about this more, but I feel like there's some big stuff that they don't fully encapsulate just because they're focusing on like either the stress aspect or the I'm starting over, so here's the fun aspect. Here's why I got into cooking and love cooking. Mm-hmm. But I don't think, and you know, as good as they both are, I don't think they all tell the whole story.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've said this since the beginning. The chef movie that we're talking about now, I think was probably one of the better representations of what we do, and the bear is too. But like they don't. I would like personally if they would do a chef movie that was real gritty. Mm. You know what I mean? Like
Christopher Nolan's the chef.
I think that would be phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of chefs that are and just either going through a lot, or they're involved in the criminal world. Like both of those movies really kind of just glazed over all that.
Yeah.
They don't touch on that, but that's a real thing that you have to deal with. But, I've been sober for a little over 4 years, so I'm not, I'm very far removed from that. But before, I would get into these crazy shenanigans, while I wasn't at work, and then, wake up somewhere random, but always be at work, but be actively going through something crazy all the time. And then everybody I was around would be too. And then because we work with each other every day, our lives would intertwine. So then it would create these whole new storylines, and that were always just insane. But, once I got removed from that, it's pretty chill. But,
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. Like I was a host and a waiter a lot in college, and I was never a chef. But one thing I always noticed is that like every restaurant I worked in, like if you were going to survive, you almost had to bend to the personality of the kitchen. Like because I would walk in there, and if I did one thing wrong or said something wrong about the menu, I got my ass chewed. And I felt like I was constantly just trying to appease the people in the kitchen. So I would end up being a dick because they were a dick to me. So I was like, the way they accepted me was by me being a dick to other people. And one guy was like, yeah, that's right, what Kyle said. I'm like, finally, they like me.
Well, he's like, shut up, Kyle.
That's as an executive chef now, I don't tolerate any of that.
Yeah.
From my staff, because that is one of those toxic aspects where you got the angry line cook, At the end of the day, you guys are like servers and hosts. They're the representative of the restaurant that are dealing directly with the guest. Yeah. And you want them to, one, be excited about the food. You want them to like it. So a lot of times when I'm trying out new things for a menu, I bring them in, get their opinions, and kind of make them part of the menu because, again, they're the ones that are going out there and selling my product, right? They're selling my dish, so I want them to be excited about it.
Yeah.
I want them to be able to come back and tell me when something's wrong and not feel like they're going to get their head bit off because, again, we have to spend most of our lives at work together. And if I have to spend half my life with you, I don't want to fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't want you to hate me. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention that this restaurant had mold in the ceiling and
nice.
Well, some restaurants are better than others.
high-end establishment.
It's seasoning,
Yeah. So I am that's funny. Just imagine mold in a bottle. Just, hey, next to the gluten. My favorite current show that's running is The Bear.
Yeah.
I love it. And I have a lot of family in the food industry, in the high-end catering industry. So like 5-star catering, whatever you want to call it. And I learn a lot through that. It's different than restaurants, but some of the same stresses and pressures.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of that as well.
Yeah. So. It's different, but similar in some ways. And, what I've read and agree with is that The Bear perfectly portrays the stress and the hell aspect of it. But like you said, there's a lot it glazes over.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff I've seen in that, I've heard confirmed from people in my family that are in that industry. But like you said, like everyone in there is a rock star. Everyone, like even the chef that they send to the Netherlands. No, what do they send? They send him to the Netherlands to learn desserts. Yeah,
I think so. I haven't watched a whole lot of that show just because it's like going to work.
Yeah, like they send a chef to Denmark to learn perfectly from the best pastry chef in the world. And he comes back. Like every person in there is like that. And it's like, but like you said, every kitchen I've worked in, what you described made more sense. It's like looking for a new start, which Heat, the movie, actually nails perfectly. Because remember, the guy that ends up being the driver just gets out of prison and he works at a diner. That element is really there. So I agree with that. I do think Chef actually nails it more. I think it nails the business more. So I think the emotional hell that can happen in a restaurant setting, The Bear wins it. But overall, I just think I'm watching and I'm like, this diatribe between Dustin Hoffman and between Favreau's character
that
was so real.
Yeah.
Dude, so like I recently, probably about 6 months ago, I was working at a very high-end Italian place here in town, and the guy that owns it is from New York City, and just one of the most intense New York Italian guys in the world.
Yeah.
And he would come. I mean, like we would have actual shouting matches, like, because I mean, and you know, he would always come and apologize to me later, but it was like, you're not, and it was always about just silly shit like that. You know, it's like, we're going to run this. And it's like, we're getting reviews about how dry this duck is. Let me change it. Because some of the recipes were his, you know, his families, and they were generational, but they just generationally sucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, how many reviews are you going to get before you maybe take a look at maybe you being the problem?
Well, food is so personal. Like I get attacked for this podcast or a bad set or something. Yeah. That sucks. But I can't imagine, like, I'm feeding people. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. You may not like this now, but if the apocalypse happened and it was just me in here, I think you'd fucking like my canned salmon. All right?
Yeah.
All right? That's what you always say when you're making a point. All right?
Yeah.
Next question. You always do. You always talk about canned salmon.
I do.
Fucking 24/7 with the canned salmon. Jesus.
Fuck that canned tuna, but canned salmon I can deal with.
Oh, yeah. That's a romantic
I just don't feel like those type of fish go into cans.
I know. I know. It's kind of ironic, too. Think about being like one of the strongest fish, swimming upstream, upriver. You get caught and shoved in a can. It's a bad way to go.
I just think this, like, those are both good cuts of meat, and to throw them in a can just seems disrespectful.
Yeah, and let them sit there in their own juices on warm shelves for God knows how long.
I imagine this is the Skid Row salmon they're shoving. They're not. I don't know that they're putting the primo. This is the salmon, like
they got hooks for fins.
Yeah, and they're like
eye patches,
and they're swimming in a creek or a river near like a data center where like waste is just being leaked into it. And they got Freon and 3 eyes in their veins, 7 fins. You know, these are this is the Skid Row salmon they're putting in
half their body is just microplastics.
I did find out that technically the cut of the meat, like if you got a tuna steak, would be tuna, and it's only when it's shredded up and put in the can is it called tuna fish.
I said earlier I don't like it when social media and technology is misused in movies. Is this the best use of social media in a movie?
It's absolutely up there. It wasn't as annoying as it could have been. Cause like I feel like now, like kind of like you said, it's so ingrained that whenever they put it in, it's just like, okay, we're making a big deal out of something that's kind of like everyday life. That was still like you said, with the time capsule idea, it was capitalizing on the novelty of someone who wasn't famous is just good at his job, getting famous because he's taking on the food critic.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll say this, man. Food critics can be complete assholes too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you know, it's what's crazy for me is to watch the evolution of them the past few years to turning to just influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it kind of helps a little bit because like nobody really takes them super serious anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they give you a bad review, you're like, oh, that guy just sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And but back in the day, I do remember a time where like the food critic had a lot of power.
Oh yeah.
You know? And when they come in, you try to do everything you can for them to make them, you know, feel good. And then sometimes you do everything possible under the sun, and they still give you a bad review.
I feel like now, because they've turned into influencers, everyone's like, oh, see that person? Treat them like absolute dog shit.
I honestly, that's become a thing. I know I have several chef friends that are like, we'll kick them the fuck out if they announce that they're an influencer.
Yeah.
It's like, walk, don't run to the new sushi place on 8th Avenue. And, oh my God, you guys. You know, like, I just hate it.
What did you think of his flip at the end where he's like, I sold my internet company and I'm here to back you? Like,
well, see, and, you know, that's another thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. This movie was fantastic for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
One thing that is common that has happened to me throughout the years is through doing private chef services and just, you know, getting in front of the right people, and then people being really like open and recognizing the art and ability that I do have. I've gotten some situations where people are like, "Hey, I want to back you on this project and this project," and it's actually something that's I'm currently working on now. It's maybe not somebody that would criticize me, but it's just somebody. I've got a couple people that are looking to back me for a couple different projects and help me get to where I want to go. That's a common thing with the chef industry. It's just people recognizing what you do and wanting to support it.
Yeah,
So,
but not outside the realm of possibility.
oh no, that actually happens quite a bit. Maybe not the critic aspect, but just people seeing your talent as a chef and wanting to back you up. I know several people that have been able to open restaurants and food trucks because people are just like, hey, you're really good. You need a spot.
Yeah. One thing I loved about how they handled social media, again, as the person that hates it, usually in movies, is that I think what it shows really accurately is actually, I think you can look at the timeline of Facebook comments, Twitter comments over time, if we could put them on a graph. I think one thing we've seen, and this is really interesting, if you haven't listened to Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins podcast, it's called The Magnificent Others. One thing that he talks about, and even though I grew up in that era and that was my music growing up, one thing I didn't really pick up on is that the music critics were very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Critics in every industry have held a lot of power for a long time. Movie critics, food critics, music critics. And like he talks about, and sometimes it gets annoying he talks about it so much, but he literally felt like it was a war against the magazine music critics. And I think one thing that it's kind of sad that this is what's happened, but I think we've seen where now today we read comments, it's like, oh, everyone's a critical asshole.
Yeah.
Everyone is. And here's the real truth. And I'm sorry if you're a critic out there, and maybe there's a couple of fair ones, but you critique because you can't do.
Yeah.
You critique because you don't do. And the idea of a professional critique, minus a small minority which may have a sense of balance, is fucking preposterous. The fact that in 1991, Billy Corgan, Kurt Cobain, Eddie Vedder, whoever could put out a record, some asshole that can't play a guitar, can't keep a beat, gets to write a fucking hit piece on a record.
Yeah.
Why do I want to read some untalented asshole's opinion on something that I professionally enjoy?
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast too, because of the comments and because of critics.
I was about to say, he says as he's on a movie review podcast.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't call myself a critic. I call myself a professional appreciator. And I'll call shit if I don't like it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I still want people to go see movies.
Yeah. We're also trying to be as respectful to the artist as we can.
Yeah. We're getting into the art form. And I try to be fair. If I don't like a movie, I still say, well, like with Tintin. Yes, I hated Tintin. But I'm like, you know what? The animation was a huge step forward. That was pretty wild. I try to be positive. But overall, I just think that we've seen the nastiness of people in general. And I think it takes us to look at critics like, wow, you want to do what they do in the comments professionally.
Yeah.
Wow.
You want to get paid to do that.
Well, and
who hurt you?
And I think, honestly, I feel like that profession has kind of died or taken on a new form.
Yeah.
Because like I nobody knows who critics are anymore.
Yeah.
It's all just influencers doing that job. But I mean, it's insane. It's insane that used to just be what people did. They're like, I'm going to go out to dinner and bitch.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay me. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck you.
I'm not even going to pay for the meal. Either the restaurant or the magazine's going to pay for it. Imagine being that angry at life that you can be that mad about eating free food.
Right. Especially with things that like art forms that have emotional attachments. Like you really said that earlier, like food, you're feeding people.
Yeah.
Great. You meet your wife over dinner. You meet your best friends for dinner. Like conversations happen, business deals happen, shit happens over food and coffee. And it's like, and you want to be the asshole that be like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's just like, dude, this is an emotional experience. So the way I eat a piece of food might be totally different than somebody else's.
Yeah.
Like I have attachments to meals because I met maybe my first date, like Germantown, or City House here in Nashville. That was my first date with my wife. I don't eat there all the time, but I have this crazy big place in my heart for City House because that's where I took my wife.
Yeah.
And so, but some critic might go in there and be like, well, I just didn't like. It's like, well, bro, you have a different attachment than I do.
The table is supposed to be like a neutral place.
Yeah.
Where we may not agree about anything at all, but when we sit down at this table, we can sit here and share a meal and gain sustenance together and at least agree that the food's good or bad.
Last question. Is Jon Favreau's grilled cheese montage the most erotic food scene ever? Zooming in on that melted cheese, I was just... Ooh.
I'd say it's definitely top 5. I know there's some other ones where I've just been like wet watching watching some stuff, but it's definitely up there. And again, it's like it's oh yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
That's
I just laugh because I get it. I get what you're saying. I love that.
But like, it's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Like he's not overcomplicating it. Yeah, he's got like 2 or 3 different kinds of cheeses. Cool. But was he using mayonnaise or butter? on the outside?
Butter.
Okay, so he butters the outside, puts the cheese in, cooks the outsides, smashes it together, flips it a couple times, and it's good to go.
And the string of multiple cheeses melted together. I was like, yeah, give it to me.
Oh yeah.
Well,
wet.
That when he's making the Cubano sandwich, I was like, that right there.
Yeah.
I'd see, and like, I can make all that fancy stuff, those tweezer stuff, but I think for me with the movie, he just highlighted how he just wanted to do some simple things, and I think for me, it's like I can make all that fancy food in the world, but at the end of the day, just give me a good brisket.
Yeah.
And a smoker and some bread, and
give me some eggs
I'm
and
good
bacon.
with that.
Yeah. Maybe second to in the movie erotic food scene was Leguizamo marinating the pork.
Yeah.
With the citrus and I was like,
I was so mad that he didn't get to cook that pork at the beginning. I was like, you just got a whole pig and you're not going to let him cook it?
Well, no, so that's the thing. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but throughout the entire movie, he was cooking it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He just took it home.
There was so many scenes where he cooks bacon. You know what I'm saying? And that was like, I was glad that you brought that up, because he gets the pig in the beginning, and then you don't realize that he's cooking it throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they show him cooking bacon several different times, and they always zoom in on the bacon.
That
I
makes
may
so
be
much
reading
sense.
too much into it, but I just like when I was watching the movie and I saw them like zoom in on the bacon a couple different times.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is the point of them doing that? And I'm like, oh, they got the pig in the beginning.
yeah.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? But maybe I'm wrong.
Rendos.
Man, great discussion from the chef, baby.
From the chef.
Woo! Some of the stuff that I was sensing in this movie, because Jon Favreau has established himself so much in MCU lore, but
Especially by this point.
Yes, and before this, he was really known more for the movie Swingers and some other movies that were kind of. And
he was on Friends.
Yep. Yes, he was. He would show up in sitcoms. He was hilarious. He's a hilarious actor.
Absolutely.
A very gifted director. But part of the reason he wanted to make this movie is because even though Iron Man was well received, some of his later entries in the MCU universe, where he was a producer, not always a director, because of the critical backlash, he wanted to go into a mindset where he was kind of getting back closer to the scaled down filmmaking, the independent style of filmmaking, while kind of paying retribution to critics.
Yeah.
And that's where his mindset was. And so he went out and he became friends with and enlisted Roy Choi, who is a respected chef. You probably know. I don't know as much about him, but he's he's an LA chef behind Kogi Barbecue Truck, and he was a consultant on the film.
Nice.
But he asked Choi to take him through a boot camp. So he taught him how to cook. And he also sent him to French culinary school for a week.
Yeah.
And so all the on-screen cooking is Favreau. So even when you're not seeing his face, that's him cutting. That's him doing everything. Very impressive. Knife skills and stuff. I mean, compared to me especially. But it was really cool. And also, Choi acted as a consultant behind the camera. So usually they use like glycerin and stuff like that for food in commercials and in movies to make the food look appealing.
Yeah.
But one of his non-negotiables for doing this for the movie was it had to be real food.
Yeah. And that's honestly something I noticed was that this didn't feel like an over glamorized, like none of the shots were trying to make the food look sexy.
Yes.
The food just looked fucking good the whole time.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Like the pasta, is it called a pasta Giglio? I can't remember what it's called. What he makes for Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, it looked like, I was going to say it looked like cacio de pepe.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So that was real. And so, and part of the trade-off too is that when the scenes were over, they didn't want the food to get wasted. So the crew would just chow down after scenes. This may have been the best movie ever to make.
Seriously.
You got everyone on set's a freaking, all of a sudden, even Favreau is now a French culinary trained chef. Everyone's making amazing food. I don't know how they all maintain weight, but so
I love the fact that they keep talking about how fat Jon Favreau is in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so funny. And even also, Favreau spent time under Wolfgang Puck in his restaurant too.
Okay.
So, and obviously he has a lot, but one of the ones he was cooking at the time.
Yeah,
And
you got to get the juxtaposition of being in a high end kitchen versus just being around a very good chef who's also now running a food truck.
Apparently, based on, I haven't been able to corroborate this with a ton of research, but apparently he treated him like a chef. He was like, a line cook. He was like, send it back. If people send it back, like he made him recook. Like
Nice.
all the things that you experience, like he made Jon Favreau. He's like, if you're gonna do this, Like, you need to experience what it's actually like to be back here doing this shit. So I major respect to Favreau. I love the independent mindset, getting back, scaling up. Although this version of an independent, film where you can get every single incredible cast member, you can afford to go to culinary school, and you have a banging soundtrack with needle drop royalties.
Yeah.
Let's not get too far down the path, but still, nonetheless, compared to his time with MCU, love seeing
What was the budget for this movie?
The budget was $11 million,
Yeah,
and it
that
made
tracks.
$46 million.
Yeah. No, that tracks.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
For independent stuff, that's honestly, you just
Also,
want to
I
make
mean,
back
it had-
the budget, the marketing, and then double that.
Had 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Yeah.
Some people liked it. What I thought was weird, though, is like Scarlett Johansson's character just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I guess, half the movie he's not in L.A., and then she does pop in right at the end again once he's back in L.A.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I do want to comment on the love life part of it. Dating chefs is hard, we are full of anxiety all day. And then, like, it's like we go to work and we have all this shit going on, and it's just like blood's pumping. I've been, I got Javier over here. He's been up for 4 days on meth, but he cooks salmon better than anybody in the city. So I got to keep him. And then, you know what I mean? The cooler goes down. I got to save all this product. And then when I get off work, whoever I'm seeing asks me if I would love them if they were still a worm. It's like, what do you mean? Are you insane? You know? The relationship he had with his kid was interesting too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he could have easily treated it as he's a shitty father, when the truth of the matter is he wanted to be a good father, but also was trying to balance the stress of everything. And it's like, once he and his son were able to like be together on the truck, and he was able to really show his love of cooking to his kid, it's like, that's what they started bonding over. And,
but the kid wanted to the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And he wouldn't do it. And it's just like, you suck, dude.
Yeah.
You kind of suck.
Yeah.
And then, like, when they're on the truck coming back, he's like, all right, we get back, you go to school. We're not going to be able to do this anymore. It's like, shut up. You just don't want to hang out with this kid.
Yeah.
He can be there with you whenever, dude. Like,
I actually had a question. I was like, is he a bad dad?
oh, yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
He's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that too, like, because as a parent of 4 kids, like, I do go back and forth. Like, I think one fault I see a lot with how people try to, especially like fucking influencers, which fuck them, but like, there's very much a white collar, pristine, dad works 40 hours, mom stays home. Like, there's a lot of like kind of weird archetypal like formation we put around how to judge how well people parent.
Yeah.
I think one thing that modern perception of how good of a parent is like, it doesn't take into account multiple ecosystems. Like this, like to have a family grow up in the tradition of cooking and like have that, like you did, like that shaped your life. Look what you do for a living now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, and that's what you grew up in. And I'm not saying your childhood was good or perfect or great or whatever, that's up to you. But there are ecosystems, and like, just because you came from a homeschooled but big but loving and family, and I came from a family of drunks. Like, there's ecosystems, and what good looks like is different in all those situations. That being said, if that's my belief system, which it is, that ecosystems can still determine how good of a parent you are within those circumstances, I still think Favreau could have done better here.
I think
absolutely.
he could have done better. I just don't think fundamentally he's a bad father. I think he doesn't know how to be a father.
Yeah.
And that's like his journey throughout this, is realizing, oh, this is what it means to be a dad.
Well, and it's also, it's like, he's got a very well-off ex-wife. He's got all the resources. It's not like he's scrounging.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? He seems like, his character seems like he's also well-off. Maybe not well-off, but like doing okay. It's not like things are a little less dire. And it's like, hey, your kid wants to go to the farmer's market with you. Quit being a dick.
Yeah.
And take him to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
You know?
But the critic that the critic was based on was Jonathan Gold. He was like one of the most infamous taker downers of 2014. He was the one that all of his the critique was based. What's funny is the guy that plays the critic is also in The Bear, Oliver Platt. He's also the Unk. He's Unk. In The Bear. And Ryan Koppelman, who follows us on Instagram, love you, Brian, plays Computer.
Okay.
But he's also known as his producer director for a lot of movies, Rounders.
I think he helped produce Billions.
Yes, he created it. He's the show.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks again for following us on Instagram. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Name drop. Shall we cook it raw?
Yeah.
Shall we
Cook it.
Fuck yeah. Shall we season it?
Shall we marinate some pork?
Let's war. Let's cook.
Yeah.
Let's cook. We have, so this is how it works. We got 5 categories, and the yes category, al dente.
Okay.
I try to use cooking terms here. And negative, no, if you don't like it, send it back.
Okay.
That's right.
I like it.
Send it back. Which we should not. If you send it back, don't leave a bad review. If they do a good job,
better.
if they make it better, why would you go leave a shitty review?
Yeah.
That's because you third row.
We
horrible,
see you.
Horrible. I saw you wincing when Matt was talking.
But I mean, if they don't try to alleviate the situation, by all means,
Oh, yeah.
hold them accountable.
Please.
That's right. Because there's shitty food out there. Let's not say there's not shitty food. This is crazy. So cast, all right. So this is a combination of top and supporting. You know who made the top bill cast? Can you guess?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau, Robert Downey Jr. for 45 seconds. That's an
He
exaggeration.
probably got paid like $1 million of that 11 million for that 45 seconds.
I wonder if he had a relationship with Jon Favreau before, and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Two of those people you see the least in this movie, but that's the top bill. And then from there we go Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Indie cast my ass.
Fantastic, by the way, as the restaurant owner. Like,
Fantastic.
What a like not loud, but like real subtle piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, he kept it real close.
He hit the nail on the head. Like as far as some of the restaurant owners I've dealt with, especially like the one I was just telling you about, the Italian guy. Like take him. Like in the movie, and then turn the volume up to about 15. Just angry Italian, yelling about pasta, and that's who I dealt with.
It's my food. It's my napkins. I like it when he goes, "I buy the napkins."
Yeah,
I was like, "Well, I guess you do buy the napkins."
Yeah, I mean, just like that.
Really.
But it just like imagine that, but like pointing and yelling at you.
Jeez,
ball.
I buy the fucking napkins.
Every Italian friend I have, there's always a point where they're yelling.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be bigoted. They just yell.
and like I'm. He's an Italian, angry Italian. I'm a wild ass hillbilly, and I will match that energy. And I used to, and it used to be crazy.
I would love to hear that kitchen.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
The hillbilly versus the Italian.
Yeah.
Supporting cast, this is stacked, man. Dustin Hoffman, 2 of my favorite characters in this movie. John Leguizamo's Martin and Bobby Cannavale's Tony.
Yeah.
Bobby Cannavale shows up in like the other guys. He just randomly shows up and he can do drama.
Yeah.
He's one of those other guys where he just like, he shows up and just does great work. I love him. And then we have MJ Anthony as the child, Percy, and then Sofia Vergara as Inez.
Which she was super fun. Like, that was the other thing is I liked that she still cared about Jon Favreau. That she wasn't just writing him off as an asshole or a lazy piece of shit. Like she still saw something good in him and was trying to help him.
Well, and I think that like what it does really good to represent kind of what relationships are like with chefs, because like and a lot of times like people that we date, they realize that we are, especially if you're in the restaurant industry, that we are. That it's almost like our job is like our partner, and they know that, and they know they can't. Sometimes it's not good for them to be all the way involved, but they still love you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And like he has that relationship with Scarlett too, and that's just kind of what it is, and that's kind of what it is for a lot of chefs. Is they have these people that love them, but know that it's maybe not good to be fully invested with them.
Yeah.
So
what do you think?
Oh, definitely al dente. Looking at the supporting cast and even everyone who was in the lead roles, like
al dente.
Yeah, the fact that Jon Favreau literally went to 2 different culinary boot camps because he's like, no, I want to make this as accurate as possible. Really shows that as a guy portraying the character, he wanted to make sure it was as respectful and accurate as he could. And then everyone just. I think his passion for this just came through so much in every role, and we'll get to directing in a little bit, but just in every role that he played, that everyone else couldn't help but follow along with it. So, yeah, I think everybody absolutely crushed it. So, completely al dente.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same. I feel like this is one of the only chef movies that I've watched that's kind of had a direct parallel with my own personal experience in life. So, yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful when that happens.
Yeah.
Totally al dente. A lot of stuff here. I think Favreau is, because he's become pretty much synonymous with MCU for a lot of people. I just love him as an actor.
Yeah.
He's actually a very gifted comedic actor. He wrote this. I mean, he directed it. He's across the board here. Just aces. It's funny because John Leguizamo's a guy that, like, if you just zoomed in on him, you would think that his energy, his persona, like, it should be irritating.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it just works.
Because he's excited.
He
He's
is.
just happy to be there.
And he can do drama. If you've seen The Summer of Sam, which is Spike Lee's movie, he stars in. Adrian Brody's in it as well. It's an incredible take. And a lot of people didn't like it. It's actually one of the lower rated Spike Lee movies.
Interesting.
I
liked
love
it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
It's gritty. I think they hit on some other things that were happening at the time, like the whole tension of the era. They covered the blackouts and how crazy that was. I mean,
Yep.
And it was more than just a serial killer movie. Like there was a lot of social commentary there that I enjoyed.
And I just think Leguizamo, again, another recommendation. When I was a kid, or actually I was a kid, I was older. In 1998, Freak came out, and Freak was John Leguizamo's one-man show. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
On HBO. It was a comedy special, but it was a one-man show. There was music, and he danced, and it was an hour, and he was sweating. Remember this? And he just put on a show. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
I loved it. So he's truly, I think, underrated in a lot of ways. He always delivers. And then Bobby Cannavale, again, as Tony here, just crushing it. This is al dente across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
1-0, writing Mr. Jon Favreau.
So this is going to be a squeak over for me.
Okay.
In that, yes, the script is very well done. Dialogue was very solid. However, just strictly from a writing perspective, there's nothing special about the writing. It's just, it reasonably mimics real life, but there's not like a line or a monologue or anything that really like stuck out to me. Okay. All of it was good. Like there's nothing bad about it, but yeah, it's a squeak over for me. So al dente.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mentioned this earlier, I think they could have made it a bit more gritty, but that's just my personal opinion. But I will say, the argument that he has in front of the staff with the restaurant owner, I think that was very accurate, and it was well written. That I felt like the climax was just kind of lackluster. Yeah, and they kind of glazed over the part where Robert Downey Jr. was like implying that his son might actually be his. Yeah. That was like a weird, that was like, wait a minute, that's big news. Yeah. And then they just didn't ever talk about it again. Yeah. You know, and it was like, I'd like to know more about that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think overall I give it, al dente.
I wanted to go in doing a resounding al dente, but after hearing everybody talk, it kind of reminded me of some sentiments I had, which I think I agree with you, which is the best written scenes in the movie are the restaurant scenes. Yeah. And they're the dynamic in the restaurants. But outside of that, the writing is serviceable. Yeah. But there's a lot of emotional arcs that they don't satisfy. Yeah. Like the insinuation that it might not be his kid. Like the insinuation that at the end that they get back together. Yeah. Well, not the insinuation, they do. They're at their wedding. But the emotional payoff with that ending scene really doesn't get built in to me. So, and him being kind of a bad dad, and that's not really... This isn't the type of movie where I think they felt the temptation to flesh that out. Yeah. But I do think there's some elements of redemption or maybe some emotional arcs within like his realization of how he fathers where it just didn't satisfy that. So I think it deserves a resounding al dente for all the restaurant dynamics. And then it's like, yes, it's a squeak above for the emotional arcs. Yeah. So, but it's still enough to go yes on this. Directing, Jon Favreau all over this thing.
Yeah, no, again, al dente, he did a great job. We've gone very in depth about all of the depth that he put into this. So yeah, it's not even a squeak over. It's a full al dente for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, just his attention to detail. I mean, I don't know. I think that, like I was saying earlier, watching him eat, I don't know if that was something. I was wondering, I was like, did he mean to put that in there? But because it's something that a lot of my chef friends deal with, is actually having anxiety around physically eating. Yeah. Because we have to eat fast, and every chef I know eats very fast, even when we're off work and we're just at dinner. And it's just when I saw that, I was like, if he actually put that in the movie and went that deep in it, that's phenomenal. Yeah. Being able to cover every aspect of kind of what the culinary world is that's insane. Yeah. So al dente for me as well.
My respect grew tremendously when I researched this movie because I liked it when it came out, but because I'm kind of I just don't love MCU stuff. I've just made that very clear. I'm not into it.
He's a hater.
I am a hater. Yes. Welcome to my world. But I love the dedication here. I love that he went and learned to cook in really high stakes situations and actually does it on screen. I love the decision to use real food and to feed the crew. Like, for all the emotional arcs that are missing, really, when you take that out of it, I have very few critiques, and it's really just a neatly packaged, fun, like, not to play on words, consumable film. It's easy to digest. It's fun.
Yeah.
The way it kind of comes at you, you're just kind of taking it in stride. You're loving the relationship. I think the food truck thing, even though I criticize some of the emotional elements, I also think the food truck scenes are fun.
Yeah.
A lot of great dynamic. There's just a lot of good decisions, a lot of great dedication from Favreau as a director here, showing us that he's not just a big budget guy, but he can also go in an $11 million film and make it rain. So love it. We are heading towards medium rare here. To tell you how poor I was, tortilla chips with Tabasco was a meal, and it was 2 times a day a meal. And I used to do a bit about this. My mom we used to eat ramen.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we would live on ramen for weeks at a time. This isn't the fancy ass ramen in Nashville. This is munchin'. Yeah. And sometimes we would eat the beef ramen, but when she decided we've eaten too much beef ramen, we need to be healthy, we do the veggie ramen.
There you go.
That was a big deal for us. That was called health.
Yeah.
In the way I grew up. So
Nice.
Thank you, Mom, for being a bipolar nutcase. What's in front of us? Cinematography, production, design, sound, costumes, editing, and all the stunts.
I am actually going to squeak under. Send it back.
You're going to send it back?
Yes. And
I'm going to go over. So I think for one, like the kitchen, they had all of that nailed. They had all that nailed on the procedures and those high-end kitchens, what they're like. They also, I feel like they highlighted the chefs being able to use social media to their advantage, because he was able to really blow up the food truck and really get a lot of attention and following behind it. And I think it was just shot well, and then it just showing what we do, and then using proper cooking procedures that weren't garbage. And then actually the food that they were making was high end. It was very, very accurate. So I think, camera wise, I think it was good, but you probably know more than I do about that.
So my biggest problem with the visuals in this is I never felt like the food was a character in the movie. I felt like the food was just kind of there. And I'm not even talking about dressing it up to make it look prettier. I am just talking about the way the food was featured in the visuals itself. I never got this sense that it was supposed to overwhelm the rest of my senses, that when we're focused on the food, it's truly about the food. And maybe that wasn't the point of the movie, but for me, I think if you are going to make a movie about the food industry, the food has to be every bit as important of a character in the story as any of the actual people. So it's like, yeah, there were moments where I was like, oh, that looks like really tasty, but I never got this moment where I just wanted to be enveloped by the food. So that for me is why it's a squeak under.
See, I'm with Matt on this. I think it's interesting that you don't think that the food featured, like, that's why I asked the question about the grilled cheese. I'm living in that grilled cheese.
That was the only moment where I felt like it got close, but even then I didn't feel like the point of that scene was not the grilled cheese. The point of that scene was just him being around his kid. And I never felt the genuine importance. I didn't think about the grilled cheese until you brought it up.
I did. I'm still thinking about it. The pork. I love and see, for me, and maybe it's just the way we experienced it differently, but I love the way that they're enjoying Martin's pork. Like the love that he put into the marinade, and the way he's showing his kid how to enjoy it, and the way they're giving him a hard time for not enjoying food. Like, I don't know, maybe I think I can see what you're saying, like, in terms of how it features, but the way the characters experience and relate to food is definitely featured. And that's
the thing is, the food is not the character, it's the characters talking about the food.
Then why do I remember so many of these foods so viscerally?
Look, because it's your opinion, and that's fine.
Oh. When it comes to this category with cinematography, I don't think there's anything special being done.
Yeah.
But I was engrossed by the knife skills, especially, like, I keep saying knife skills. When they kept zooming in on the cutting, when I found out that was actually Favreau, I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't necessarily even thinking about the frames or thinking about the camera technique or the designs, because I was actually, like, engrossed by the process. 4-0, and it's too late to lose on this one. We got one category left. I call this one Whole Foods.
Oh God.
What do we think about this? The cooking and the realism of food preparation, the processes, the kitchen stuff, anything relating to the food.
So this would be a squeak over al dente for me, for the same reasons I brought up in the visuals category. Is I do feel like the food could have been like just visually featured better, but you get the attitude of especially Jon Favreau and the guys that are traveling with him. You do get the understanding of how much they're into the food and how much they love the food. I think it fell just a little flat for me personally, but not so flat that I can't say it wasn't at least reasonably well done, but it's still al dente for me.
The only issue, I'm going to say al dente, but the only issue I had is you were talking about the knife skills where he's doing that.
Yeah.
Most chefs I know don't do that. That's more of a show thing.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's absurd. You know?
Really?
Yeah, it looks cool, but it's like there's just too many things that can happen with that. I can do that.
Yeah.
But I never do it. Choose
Yeah.
not to. And a lot of my chef friends do as well, because it's like, I would rather just take my time and make sure this is done right instead of speed through it. Because you can get to speeding and your cuts get off and then everything's fucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks cool, but it's not, that's kind of not a realistic thing.
I go al dente too, and I think I understand what you're saying. There is a way to focus on food that really is more of a like kind of a food obsession. Like, it's funny. The first thing that comes to mind is the show Hannibal, like the sounds like they did the Hannibal Lecter, but a show is incredible.
Oh, I love that show.
It's incredible. Do you remember how they focused on the food though?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, he is making some of the best shit. Like, he was making crazy
I know.
shit.
With humans.
I know.
So
Like he had that one scene where he like built a clay pot over the top of like a leg.
Yeah.
And he cooked it. And like it's a French cooking method that it dates from a long time ago. And I've always wanted to try it, but I've never been able to, like, it's a process.
Yeah.
But he builds that clay pot over the top of it while it's still raw. And then while you bake it, it bakes the clay to make a pot over the food. And then it gives it like it's just a crazy like process of cooking stuff.
Wow.
And then you literally break the pot when the food's done.
Incredible. Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, so the first books I ever were obsessed with, heavily influenced as a writer, was The Red Dragon, Thomas Harris's Hannibal. And this isn't really in the novels, but they did it for the Hannibal show, and I get a lot of shit for this. Mads Mikkelsen is my favorite Hannibal. I'm sorry, hate to say it. All respect to Anthony Hopkins, incredible, but I love Mads. But one thing they do that's in the show is that he has this Rolodex, and it's beautiful cursive because, he's a genius.
Yeah.
And they're recipes, but they're all classic.
They're all humans, yeah.
Classic French recipes, but every year he throws a gigantic like soiree party for all of his rich doctor friends and lawyers, but he's serving them all the food that he killed people that year,
right?
But they look like extravagant, but it's almost pornographic.
Yeah,
the way they zoom in on the dish.
Oh, and his kitchen in that show, like his home kitchen, I'm like, God, I would kill
high
for that,
end.
dude.
So there is almost a pornographic angle where you're like on the food, and like I can see what you say. Maybe if there was like a 2-minute scene where Favreau really made something that was special and it zoomed in. But I just don't know if that was the message of this movie. It was about the dynamics, the relationships, and it really focused on the business and this critical angle. I just don't know that there was time. We've already got one disjointed thing.
You wouldn't have needed to add more time. I
don't think so?
I just think those scenes, especially where he's getting creative again, I think those scenes could have been filmed a little bit different to make the food more of a character.
Yeah, and I think too, though, he's like an everyman chef. Like, yes, he's got a reputation and he is beloved, but he isn't like Bobby Flay TV. I do think he's like kind of in that middle grade where he's really good, but he's also he's known in Miami.
Yeah,
but he's not necessarily like a world renowned chef. So I think maybe that's why they shied away. This is just my interpretation. They didn't feel the need to get really like in on the food.
Yeah, they were at 5-0.
5-0, and this was incredible, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go eat your food like right now.
Yeah, please do.
We got the Goonies next week, y'all, with Matt West joining us again, so stay tuned.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Seth.
Matt West.
Woo!
The Movie Wars.